Not only does Donald Trump have money, he has money with the RNC, he has money with his super PACs, and his money has money.
I don't frankly have a problem with it, and if they capitulate, it's because they don't want to go through the discovery and what that might show.
You're a practitioner, Scott. I mean, it's a bad poll. A bad poll is a bad poll.
I apologize to all of you for failing to do that.
Welcome to Tales with a Twist on Bonnie's View. My name is Ella. Today we're unraveling a tale of bruised egos, media gymnastics, and a hefty $15 million worth of oopsies. Grab your popcorn, folks. This one's juicy. Just when we thought 2024 couldn't get any spicier, ABC News decided to give us a plot twist worthy of a soap opera. What's the buzz? They're paying former President Donald Trump a whopping $15 million to settle a defamation lawsuit.
Breaking news into CNN, ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos has reached a settlement with President-elect Donald Trump in his defamation suit.
Yes, the same Trump who's been calling them fake news since before it was trendy. If you're wondering how we got here, buckle up. It's a wild ride. The lawsuit stemmed from anchor George Stephanopoulos' inaccurate on-air assertion that Trump had been found civilly liable for raping writer E. Jean Carroll.
I'm asking you a very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for rape.
It was not a criminal court. This was a civil court. It was a civil court. And by the way, she joked about the judgment and what she was going to do with all that money, and I find that offensive.
I'm asking you about the man
as a rape victim who's been shamed for years now because of her rape, you're trying to shame me again by asking me this political question.
You've repeated that again and
again. I think it's offensive.
And now ABC is coughing up $15 million to settle, but not directly to Trump. It's going toward his presidential library. It gets better. As part of the settlement, ABC and Stephanopoulos are also required to apologize to Trump publicly. Talk about a humbling moment.
The network will pay out $16 million as part of that settlement and have to issue an apology.
And guess what? ABC also agreed to reimburse Trump for his legal fees. It's like they're paying him for the privilege of exposing their own bias. In another move that's making waves, Donald Trump is suing Ann Selzer and her polling firm, the Des Moines Register, as well as Gannett, accusing them of consumer fraud over a poll that falsely showed Kamala Harris ahead by 3 points in Iowa on the eve of the election.
And in my opinion, it was fraud and it was election interference. You know, she's gotten me right always. She's a very good pollster. She knows what she was doing. And she then quit before. And we'll probably be filing a major lawsuit against them today or tomorrow.
Of course, liberal hacks like Rachel Maddow were throwing a party when the Iowa polls came out, celebrating like they just discovered kale burns calories while you eat it. Someone should have told them to calm down. After all, it was just Iowa with 6 electoral votes.
We are still in a news environment in which there are good polls. And particularly where in some states there is a gold standard pollster who appears to be unaffected by larger dynamics that are making everybody whine about the polls. And the reason those individual pollsters get the gold standard designation is both because of their proven sound methodology, but also because of their track record over time in that particular jurisdiction. And the prototypical example of a gold standard poll is the Iowa poll done by Ann Selzer, by J. Ann Selzer in Iowa. The polls that she produces for the Des Moines Register in Iowa, specifically the final Iowa polls she does before each major election, her polls are known for their uncanny predictive accuracy.
This would be, if this actually happened, Harris ahead by 3 over Trump in Iowa. That would be an 11-point shift for Harris in Iowa. What is the climate in Iowa? One thing that might be notable here is you look at where Harris is drawing her support from in this Des Moines Register poll. Among women, 20-point advantage over Trump. This is particularly strong for her independent women and senior women. Trump obviously doing better with men. But one thing to keep in mind in Iowa, abortion has been front and center there with that new 6-week ban that went into effect this summer.
That gender gap on display yet again. Fantastic stuff. We'll talk about it throughout the show. Steve Kornacki, great stuff. Thank you so much.
In Senate and presidential races, you have seen Ann Selzer basically as a living bullseye. And that's why lots of people had strong reactions when the Des Moines Register Ann Selzer Iowa poll was posted last night. This is that poll, and it is a shock result.
Despite all the theatrics, Trump went on to win Iowa decisively with double digits.
Right there, Trump wins the 6 electoral votes of Iowa. And so we can see the breakdown there with about half the vote counted there. So there was this thought that perhaps because of his restrictive abortion ban that just went into effect in July and this highly respected pollster coming out, that perhaps there was going to be a wave of independent women who could somehow turn this red state blue. But this was not to be, Chuck.
No, I mean, look, this is a miss because this looks exactly the way Iowa looked 4 years ago. You know, we're in margin of error.
His lawyers are calling it election interfering fiction. Many believe the poll was strategically manipulated to influence the public, discouraging Republican voters in a traditionally red state by suggesting Harris was in the lead while energizing Democratic voters. It's like a sneaky game of political hopscotch, only this time the polls aren't jumping in Trump's favor.
Pollster Ann Seltzer told the PBS show Iowa Press last week she's still trying to nail down what happened with that Des Moines Register Mediacom Iowa poll. Seltzer said she had already planned to have that be her last Iowa poll. Des Moines Register responded with a statement saying in part, quote, "We have acknowledged that the Seltzer Des Moines Register pre-election poll did not reflect the ultimate margin of President Trump's election day victory in Iowa. We do stand by our reporting on the matter and believe a lawsuit would be without merit."
Yeah, but wait. There's more. Trump is also suing CBS for a whopping $10 billion over its biased 60 Minutes interview with Harris, accusing the network of orchestrating a partisan and unlawful scheme to tip the scales of the election in her favor.
And we actually do have some breaking news related to this. Former President Donald Trump is suing CBS News for $10 billion over what he is claiming was deceitful doctoring of an interview with Harris. Now, Fox News Digital obtained the affidavit exclusively today, and I have it right here to read to you. I did want to read you a part of this. I'm also just going to pull up some of this quote here. As you can see, it says, "This action concerns CBS's partisan and unlawful acts of election and voter interference through malicious, deceptive, and substantial news distortion calculated to confuse, deceive, and mislead the public, an attempt to tip the scales in favor of the Democratic Party."
Sounds like a whole lot of if you can't ask the right questions, just twist the answers going on. Here's a sample of the editing job CBS did in their interview. Whoever did this amazing job of making Harris sound and look confident and decisive should come work for us at Boney's View. Of course, for free.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
Trump's not done yet. He's demanding the full, unedited transcript be released. Hey, public service, anyone?
Are you worried at all about this, Scott, just where it could go? Not just the Donald Trump of it all, but I mean, if he's creating precedent, it's for everybody.
Well, when you introduced, Michael used the word narratives, and I think one of the reasons Republicans are cheering on this muscular attitude from Trump and pushing back against some of this is because Republicans feel like constantly media organizations, especially in the throes of campaigns, work overtime to create false narratives that may shape the contours of the election. Look what happened when this poll came out in Iowa. The entire English-speaking world was talking about the gold standard pollster, and Harris has this momentum, and ultimately what we were told was complete garbage.
Michael Cohen, former attorney to Trump and now one of his most vocal critics, has pointed out the media's unfair treatment of Trump. Cohen, who had a front row seat to the courtroom drama during the Stormy Daniel legal soap opera, shared his own experiences with the fake media while working alongside Trump.
I hate to say it, but Scott is actually right about this one. I hate to say it because Scott and I very rarely agree on anything. He's right. He's right. He's right about this in the fact that sloppy journalism, sloppy polling, and what they did. Look, I was the recipient of more than 100 lies. And I understand what Trump is doing in terms of changing the way defamation cases are brought in this country. You may remember the allegations. I was in Prague, never been to Prague. I was in Czechoslovakia. I paid $10 million to Kompromat. I have a house next to Putin in Sochi. None of this is true. On top of that, there was another one that came out as an example where I allegedly was paid $400,000 by Poroshenko to create a meeting between him and Donald Trump during the presidency. That is also not true.
So do you think it should be easier? You believe it
No,
should
I
be
think
easier
that media
to
has
sue
to do
media
their
companies?
job. They have to actually, they need to get the facts
But wait a
right.
second.
because
Wait.
Since their fallout, Cohen has become a favorite among liberal media outlets, even landing a pundit role at CNN. It's a fascinating dynamic where shared enemies can sometimes lead to unexpected alliances.
The final straw, and people felt like it was somehow deliberate. That there was a deliberate attempt.
That's the word of the day, deliberate. What happens when it was deliberate? That's the whole point that Donald Trump is trying to explore right now. What happens when that deliberate fake poll comes out and does actually alter?
He also suggested that ABC was likely too afraid to let George Stephanopoulos face tough questioning in a deposition, fearing it would expose a whole closet of skeletons in their fake media cupboard. After all, who wants their bias laid bare for all to see?
Thank you.
But what happens when it is deliberate? And that's why I believe that ABC ended up folding, because they did not want discovery to take place.
Yeah.
That there's no other reason, as far as I'm concerned.
They
as to why
folded
did it.
because they wanted to suck up to Donald Trump. That's what-
Scott Jennings followed by emphasizing the dangers of fake polls, sharing insights from his discussions with reputable pollsters who dismissed the Iowa poll and others with similar methodology as unreliable. He further noted that ABC's settlement with Trump was a calculated move to salvage what remained of their credibility, echoing Cohen's view.
And if you talked to pollsters at the time, they would have told you, this is not real. This methodology is not good anymore. But that's not what people chose to run with, because it fit what most people in the press wanted the narrative to be. So he's pushing back on that. I don't, frankly, have a problem with it. And if they capitulate, it's because they don't want to go through the discovery and what that might show.
You're a practitioner, Scott. I mean, it's a bad poll. A bad poll is a bad poll.
That's a view shared by Tom Ellsworth of the PBD Network, who emphasizes that ABC rushed to settle with Trump to avoid more secrets coming to light, potentially embarrassing the network.
So, 4 days ago, Trump was ordered to sit for defamation, but Stephanopoulos was also going to be deposed. And when you get deposed, what do we know? They can ask you a lot of stuff, and they can go broad. ABC didn't want George Stephanopoulos to be deposed. They didn't want that, because if they start opening it up, guess what happens during discovery? You find a lot of stuff, like the producer notes for that segment, like other things. And so ABC was like, yep, Reid also ordered Stephanopoulos to sit for deposition this week, either in person or remotely. His deposition was limited to 4 hours. He was going to sit there and get his little Greek ass grilled for 4 hours. And all of a sudden, on the eve of that, they're like, would $15 million do it, and an apology, and $1 million for your legal fees, $15 for your library, and an apology. And we'll even make George apologize on air. That's what happened here, Pat.
Let's rewind to the 2024 presidential debates. Remember when Trump refused to grace us with more debate drama after his clash with Kamala Harris? Well, that debate took place after a bloodless internal coup within the Democratic Party that forced out Joe Biden, setting the stage for a Trump-Harris showdown. He ditched the mainstream stage for podcasts, declaring traditional media irrelevant after the ABC debate moderators teamed up with Harris, fact-checking only Trump and ignoring all the false claims from Harris, a situation many saw as 3 versus 1. And boy, was he onto something. ABC, along with their neutral siblings, CNN, CBS, and the rest of the alphabet soup, ganged up on Trump like it was their side hustle. But hey, at least MSNBC didn't pretend to be neutral. They came in guns blazing, wearing their bias like a badge of honor. Props for honesty, right? ABC News paying Trump $15 million is like the bully handing the kid they shoved into a locker a bouquet of flowers. It's a rare moment of accountability or desperation. The settlement speaks volumes, folks, lending some serious weight to Trump's favorite tagline, fake news. Ever since ABC News settled with Trump, the liberal media has been clutching their pearls and losing their minds. It's as if a $15 million check got handed out like party favors at a wedding, and suddenly everyone's scrambling for their fainting couches. Knee bent, ring kissed, one liberal cried, accusing ABC of bowing to Trump. It's almost as if ABC News had to hire a professional apologizer for a statement of regret, not an apology, mind you, just a regret that sounds like they accidentally ran over a puppy. But hey, the real drama's been on MSNBC, with analysts wondering aloud if ABC's boardroom made the call or if Trump just gave them a look, and they crumbled like a cookie. One legal analyst even warned this could have a chilling effect on media coverage. Yeah, the only thing chilling here is how quickly ABC folded under pressure, proving once again that sometimes the real scandal isn't the story, it's who's telling it. In Trump's words, they are the enemy of the people. And now? Well, ABC's checkbook seems to agree. A spokesperson tried damage control, claiming the settlement was a step towards closure. Translation: please stop calling us fake. Meanwhile, Trump's camp was gleefully quoting, ABC has essentially admitted their errors. Translation? We told you so. It's not just about the money, folks. This is a glaring example of exposure of media bias. For years, the big networks, with their straight faces and not so straight reporting, peddled narratives while claiming neutrality. And now, the man they love to hate has them writing million-dollar apology notes. Awkward. Oh, and let's not forget the irony. The same networks that mocked Trump for going low budget with podcasts are now struggling to stay relevant while his podcast appearances rake in views, like it's Black Friday. What's next? MSNBC? Ouch, sorry again. MSNBC doing reaction videos. Now, let's talk about George Stephanopoulos. Years ago, he showed exactly why he's not to be trusted.
Do you have any evidence that a crime may have been committed? We've done investigative work here at ABC News, found no proof of any kind of direct action, but it's not a criminal. It's not nothing that would warrant a criminal investigation. There's no evidence at all that Hillary Clinton got directly involved in this decision.
He donated $75,000 to the Clinton Foundation, but failed to disclose it, even as he publicly criticized the foundation.
The donations came to light after his hard-hitting interview with author Peter Schweitzer, whose book Clinton Cash accuses the Clinton Foundation of taking money from foreign governments and businesses when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State.
It wasn't until a public filing exposed him that he was forced to apologize on TV.
Stephanopoulos was hit with a barrage of criticism for not disclosing his own donations to the foundation.
Stephanopoulos failed to disclose that he himself had donated $75,000 in Clinton cash of his own.
Once a liberal Clinton hack, always a Clinton liberal hack.
ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos is apologizing and pulling out of his role in a planned GOP presidential debate.
I should have made additional disclosures on air when we covered the foundation, and I now believe that directing personal donations to that foundation was a mistake. Even though I made them strictly to support work done to stop the spread of AIDS, help children, and protect the environment in poor countries, I should have gone the extra mile to avoid even the appearance of a conflict. I apologize to all of you for failing to do that.
Does that sound like a neutral or unbiased reporter to you? I bet you'd defer on that one.
ABC called the omission an honest mistake and said, "We stand behind him."
Yeah, right? Honest mistake, huh? That's like a kid caught red-handed stealing candy, munching on it, and then claiming, "I don't know how it got in my mouth." Sure, kid. And I guess Santa put it there too. So, there you have it. The $15 million oops that's left ABC scrambling and Trump smiling. Joy Reid, take note. While you're busy yapping on MSNBC about the sky falling, maybe consider keeping your facts straight before MSNBC. Oh no, there I go again. Pardon me, MSNBC ends up in the same pickle, begging for a settlement. Imagine the day Joy Reid is forced to swallow a humble pie on air, delivering a public apology while trying to keep that trademark smirk and wig intact. Oh, the ratings that apology would rake in.
It's more than just that. Not only does Donald Trump have money, he has money with the RNC, he has money with his super PACs, and his money has money. Look at all of the tech billionaires that are around him now. There is an indefinite amount of money, and I believe wholeheartedly that the Des Moines Register, very much like ABC Disney, is going to capitulate. And I believe that Donald Trump has actually figured out a way how to change the way that media deals with issues, whether it's...
Are you worried at all about this, Scott, just where it could go? Not just the Donald Trump of it all, but I mean, if he's creating precedent, it's for everybody.
I don't frankly have a problem with it, and if they capitulate, it's because they don't want to go through the discovery and what that might show.
You're a practitioner, Scott. I mean, it's a bad poll. A bad poll is a bad poll.
It's worse than a bad poll.
Tune in next time for more twists and turns, because in this crazy world, truth is often stranger than fiction, and funnier too. And hey, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss the next juicy twist.
You wanna cry.